All right, so yesterday I got home from work and my intake and exhaust manifold gaskets had arrived. I always buy a spare when I'm out, and these were made by Remflex. Gonna see how good they are. It says if you don't like them, you haven't tried them. Well, I haven't tried them yet, but they're 100% graphite. They have a torque spec of 20 foot-pounds per square inch, and I've removed the upper side cover, the left front fender, and the lower side cover. Dang it, there we go. I have also disconnected the exhaust pipe from the exhaust manifold. I have disconnected the throttle cable mount and the fuel supply to the carburetor. Normally, right in the center of the screen, that first bolt there should be a stud, and this last bolt, let's see if I can get in here with that last bolt there. I can't get in there with the gimbal too close. That should be a stud too, so you can hang everything, because the intake and exhaust manifold bolt together in one piece. And then you just loosen the bolts there and turn those ears, and the whole thing will drop off. We had to remove all the studs when we did the headwork back in 2009, and I figured I hate studs backing out, and I wanted something that was going to hold and also come out of the head without breaking, shearing. So these are all grade 8 bolts, and I'm going to pull those out next, so I'll be right back. Okay, so here's what I found. It had been so long since I had hung the intake and exhaust manifold, I couldn't remember if I had the alignment bushings in the intake holes here. I ordered these some time ago and have been keeping them stashed in my toolbox. These alignment bushings help seal the intake so you don't get a vacuum leak when drawing fuel and lose power. And we can see by the exhaust that this part right here on 2 and 3 exhaust port is just blown out. Now, I don't know why this gasket didn't last. It's only 11 years old. Probably should have lasted a lot longer. But just kidding. These things blow out all the time. So let's go look at the intake exhaust manifold together. We've made a pretty good seal. Wow, lighting is just awful today. Made a pretty good seal, and I'm getting plenty of gasoline and Marvel Mystery Oil, maybe a little too much. I think this carburetor is just not holding fuel after I shut it down, but that's a good thing, because that means the top end of the pistons are oiled after shutdown. And this port here is number 2 and 3, and you can see the carbon coming down there. So what I do is I pull the old gasket off. Yeah, it's gone. And remove the metal portion, and then hit everything with a wire wheel to really clean it up. Oh my god, almost had an avalanche. Anyway, so that's what I'll be doing next. It's noisy. You don't need to hear that. We'll be back for the assembly. Okay, so the intake manifold is all clean. And what I did was I took my longest flat straight edge and put it along the face of all these ports. Well, I'd show you what's squeaking up in the sky, but it's not a very... we have two eagles, bald eagles flying overhead. Anyway, so what happens is these nuts here need to be loosened a little bit because the intake manifold and the exhaust manifold are in two pieces. And there are two bolts on the other side. I remember when I was building this truck for someone, I took this completely apart and I drilled out the holes because these studs broke, and used new nuts and bolts and everything. Anyway, so by loosening this will allow the exhaust and intake manifolds to mate more easily to the cylinder head. Let's go take a look at that now. And as we can see, nice and clean. Look at those huge 302 cubic inch intake ports. Cavernous. Very cavernous. Let's see if we can see inside. They're huge in there. You can see the intake valve there on the right for number 4 piston. Anyway, that's some good airflow. This is a good head. So there'll be people who will comment, oh, you can't put a 302 head on a World War II GMC engine. And people go, why? Well, the World War II GMC engine had dome top pistons, cast iron dome top pistons. Well, the GM 302 head does not have a dome top head like a Chrysler Hemi. They're flat. So Aggie Performance in Santa Fe Springs, California spun up some new flat top aluminum pistons, and that's what kind of pistons are in this engine. So I'm going to get busy and put things back together, and then we're not going to hear an exhaust leak anymore. Be right back. Okay, I have the camera set up on two of the legs set up on the leaf spring and some blocks, and let's put this thing back together. So hopefully I won't knock the camera down, but the alignment rings just push into the cylinder head, which is, the whole surface along here is in great condition. Going in and out of frame to get stuff. Here's the new intake and exhaust manifold. Okay, Remflex, that fits really nicely. Wow. Well worth the 45 bucks. Good job. Appreciate that. Hopefully my bolts are going to be long enough. They should be. This is a pretty darn thick gasket. Wow, that thing really fits well. Happy I bought 2 of them. Okay, so you guys didn't see it, but uh-oh, that's where it is. Off camera, when I pulled the intake and exhaust assembly off the engine, I had trouble with the support bar that goes from the cowl up here to the radiator core support. So I'm going to take the air cleaner off the carburetor right now, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I can feel that the intake and exhaust manifold is loose. So, wow, don't drop things. Okay, here we go. Okay, the front is started. Oh, man. Damn it. Well, time to start over, because I just killed the gasket. Glad I have 2. Yep, that won't work anymore. That's on the intake. Okay. Yeah, one of the bolts fell. Where'd you go? There it is. All right, time out.